Good evening or good morning, depending on where you are in this world. They're all 24 time zones. Welcome to a real short box shorty. And today's topic is a very relevant topic. The question is Netflix in trouble? What say you, Donald? Right. And what say you, Chris, my co-host on this topic?
So basically, we're asking if Netflix is done, right? Like if they're done. Like, okay, so if you see the screen behind me, it's Stranger Things. Stranger Things is like their big gun. They just threw in $30 million an episode for this 4th season alone. They only have up to 5 seasons, and they're canceling it. So they spent like, I think it was almost $340,000 or $340 million, I think is what they spent on the entire season of season 4.
Incredible.
That's insane, right? That's a huge amount of money to pipe into a series like this. Where are they getting the money? They are a subscriber-based content thing, like a program, an application. They have to rely upon subscribers to continue to grow. They're hitting that wall now. That's a problem. So they have to go, okay, what can we do within our budget? And they're not doing that. What they're doing is, okay, how can we raise the cost of the subscription? And that's where the trouble lies, right there. The subscription price. People dropping them like flies because they don't want to pay another $5 a month for content that they don't have, that they can't get.
In addition, they're curtailing password sharing as well, which is also upsetting people.
Mm-hmm. Chris, you were going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say what he's saying, that they're going to like start charging every profile that you have on Netflix is going to get its own. You're going to get like a $2, like a surcharge for every profile is what they're going to do. Like, so say you have 5 profiles on Netflix, that's an extra $10 right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not something people are going to be willing to do or willing to pay, particularly. That's going to cause a problem.
Well, that's why they lost $50 billion. Did you hear me? $50 billion because of these changes, amongst other things. Of course, there's competition out there. HBO Max, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime. You know, the competition is getting really hot and heavy out there.
That's insane to me. Yeah, you're right. I think a big one is HBO Max. They did not anticipate HBO Max being a big gun, which is weird that they wouldn't anticipate that, because HBO kind of started it all as far as like the pay to watch adult, like more like higher content, like more pristine, like a better type of content.
Right.
So they started it all, and then they got smart during the pandemic and said, you know what, we're going to put our Wonder Woman movie, sure, we'll put it out in theaters, but we're also going to put it on HBO Max. So people that don't want to go to the theater can watch it here at the same time. Everybody subscribed to HBO Max then so they could watch Wonder Woman 1984, which wasn't a good movie, by the way, but people didn't know that at the time, so they subscribed, and everybody and their mother was like, oh, man, you know, this was terrible, but what else do they have? And then they started checking out the other content. HBO's been putting out a lot of original content lately, too. That's what they're known for. They're really good at it. They know budgets. They know what they're doing within the constraints of what they have. So that's a big problem for Netflix. Another one is all these Marvel series coming out on Disney Plus. That's another big problem. It's popularity, you know. It's just coming back to the 80s when we all had these cable packages, and we could only afford so many things to that package. So it was like you got to cherry pick. What do I want in that package? And it's looking like it ain't Netflix.
Yeah, another reason that like they're struggling is because Netflix, like HBO, Disney Plus, they like to let their shows last, and Netflix likes to cancel things. They don't like to see, if they spend so much money on these shows, they don't like to see if these shows will pick up a fan base or not. So they get scared and they just pull the trigger and canceled. Like I was looking at a list, I saw over 50 shows canceled last year from Netflix.
Yeah, they canceled Cowboy Bebop before it even finished playing. Like I mean, and it had only been out like what, a week before you couldn't even unless you binged it, like binged hard, you couldn't have gotten through it. Like if you work a regular 9 to 5 and you are a casual viewer like myself, that you have time to watch a couple episodes a week or something, you wouldn't have gotten through the whole thing of Cowboy Bebop before they said, you know what, it's done, we're canceling it. What then makes me want to finish it or continue to watch it? Why do I feel like I need to invest in a series then that's not finished anymore? Like, they were planning on doing more. Now that's done. So to me, it just felt like pulling the rug from out underneath me, and it made me upset. And I was like, well, the hell with it then. I'm not going to watch that. And I'm not even going to try to watch this other series because I know they're going to cancel that one too.
The only redeeming quality I'll say for Netflix is they saved a show from BBC called Last Kingdom, which in my opinion is it's like a medieval like times show, kind of in the same vein of Game of Thrones, except more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, better. It's a better show than Game of Thrones. If you look at the ending, how it ended well compared to Game of Thrones. So that's the one redeeming quality, is that Netflix gave that show, picked up that show after season 2 and gave it the the room it needed to breathe and become its own thing. They like, okay, how do you want to finish it? Okay, you want 5 seasons and a movie? You got it. And so they let them do that. And so the 5th season ended, and now the movies come out next year. And so that's the one thing, is like they did have that, and so they need to do that more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're also doing that with their new Doctor Who that's coming out next year in 2023. There's a show called Sex Education, and they're letting that show flourish, um, even though it doesn't have a lot of viewers. But so, and it's happening, but it's just, but at the same time, it's like some of the better shows that it definitely end on cliffhangers are being ended, and then people don't want to watch it, and they're like, well, there's nothing I want to watch left.
Right.
Like, I know, like they're spending all that money on Stranger Things to try to get people to come back. The problem is all the people I know that watch Stranger Things are just going to pirate anyway.
Yeah, that can be a big problem, piracy, of course. But I don't feel like it's as prevalent as a lot of people would think when it comes to Netflix, particularly because Netflix does such a good job streaming. So they have the ability to, when a lot of the other services like Paramount Plus or Hulu or something like that won't
Peacock.
work properly. Yeah, Peacock, they skip or stutter or something, when your internet's low. Netflix will lower the res of the videos and stuff that you're watching instantly. They have a better package to where, for some reason, you can watch some Netflix shows when you can't watch any other application shows. And I don't know why that is,
Yeah,
but
they have
that's
an
always.
algorithm. They have an algorithm where basically it'll take what your streaming is, and then they'll lower the quality to fit that streaming so that it will always play and not have it be interrupted if it has to buffer or whatnot.
That makes sense, and that's really smart that they do that. And that's another thing I enjoy about them. I still like Netflix, don't get me wrong. Chris was saying they do take chances. They do have some original content. I think they need to get back to that chance taking in doing smaller pieces. Some of their biggest hits are things that they took chances on. Squid Games, for example, last year, hugely successful. I think it might have been their most seen series, uh, either right up there with Stranger Things or just below it, or maybe slightly above it. I can't remember
Tiger
which.
King.
Tiger King was another one that they took a chance on, and huge hit during the pandemic. So Netflix has this capability to come up with these small, quiet little things that end up blossoming into huge, big deals. But they need to be smart about it, and they need to draw it back a little bit. They need to acquire content that might not necessarily be the most popular content right away, but that can build, and then they can build off of that and create a sub series or something. If they, let's say, for example, I'm not saying they do this, but they acquire NCIS old episodes, and then they go, you know what? We want to create a new NCIS for Netflix, and then they build off of that and stream an NCIS Cleveland or something, and have that. And And the possibilities of what I'm saying are endless. If they're smart about it, they can still survive, but they have to be very smart about it. Otherwise, they're going to get gobbled up real quick by these other streaming platforms that are growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, especially since they've been trying to get this elusive Oscar since they came out, and the first streaming service to win an Oscar is Apple. Like that's really got to hurt for Netflix.
Yeah, that's true. That does really have to hurt. It's got to
And it's not
sting
only
just a little bit.
it's not only just like an Oscar for Apple. It's like the Oscar. It was like the like best movie like for Apple. So it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, we can't forget Apple. We can't forget Shudder, the horror streaming. There's so many caveats and so many little streamers too that pop in there that just take niche markets away from Netflix. So Netflix horror is nothing. Nobody cares about horror on Netflix.
Oh, Tubi.
They go
Tubi has a better library selection for horror.
right, and Tubi's free. So keep that in mind. Tubi I think is owned by Fox, the network, if I recall, not the 20th Century division, which Disney owns. It's owned by the other Fox, so to speak. So Tubi's a part of that. So that gives them the capability to stream content and stuff that they've developed and that they have or that they've acquired their own little platform. And there's Crackle, which is Sony. There's Paramount Plus, of course, which is Paramount, HBO, and so on and so forth and so on. So again, I think, do you guys agree with me? Do you think Netflix can survive if they if they get smart and keep it small and simple
Yes.
and just know the strength is in their characters?
Yes, got to get back to their roots. Some of those original shows they had when they started, and these other studios that you mentioned, they have their own library that they own, so they don't need Netflix anymore.
Right.
They discovered. So
Yep.
Netflix has, like you said, has to get smart. Maybe since we're all comic book fans, and continue to invest in independent comics and develop those into TV shows, as well as look for that next Stranger Things.
Yeah, they had to deal with Mark Millar, for his comic book series. I think they took Awesome Entertainment, so all of Rob Liefeld's series entertainment and stories and stuff. So they're trying to acquire these niche, smaller things, but canceling shows like Lock and Key, which are huge, it did really well and had a good original story. Not the smartest thing in the world. It tells your fan base, we're just going to cancel stuff after the third season because we don't want to pay our actors and producers and writers more money. That's the Netflix way. That's also going to hurt you. You can't have the appearance of being a dick. And right now, Netflix looks like a big dick, just in the way that they treat the streamers, us, and the way that they treat everybody behind the scenes that works in productions for Netflix. So they don't have a really good reputation right now. And it's not. I wouldn't want to be Team Netflix right now. But I still believe in what they originally did, and I think that they can do it again, and they can do it well. But again, they have to get smart. Anything else you guys want to add before we let this one go?
That's it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next year or two, because that might potentially determine the fate of the company. Never know.
Yep. And, I just want to quickly mention that you can find our audio podcasts on a whole multitude of platforms. We are the Real Short Box. You can find us on Spreaker, Spotify. Kevin, I'm losing. What am I thinking? Apple Podcasts,
SoundCloud?
iHeartRadio, SoundCloud. Thank you. A whole multitude of streaming platforms for podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube Live, where we do our live shows. So you can find us on YouTube there. Under the Rumble Spoon Productions banner on YouTube, you can find us. We do the live shows every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. You can find us there. You can tune in, chat, do whatever you want. Say hello. Please feel free. Find us on Facebook. We have a group there that you can be a part of. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, all kinds of fun stuff, guys. So check us out if you can, and subscribe, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate you. And if we don't see you out and about anytime soon, perhaps we'll see you
at the fresh, homely, and always binge watching comic book shop.